to have worn the uniform, how would you address the ongoing war in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine on day one of a Ron DeSantis presidency?
Well, first, I think what we need to do as a veteran is recognize that our military has become politicized. You talk about gender ideology, you talk about things like global warming that they're somehow concerned, and that's not the military that I served in. We need to return our military to focusing on commitment, focusing on the core values and the core mission. Look, in terms of what's going on over in Eastern Europe, I'd like to see a settlement of this. I do not want to see a wider war. I think it's completely unknowable what it will look like in January of 2025. But I would not want to see the United States with our troops get enmeshed in a war in Russia or in Ukraine.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So I made a video about Ron DeSantis' announcement for presidential run. And I said in his botched Twitter space that they never asked him about the war in Ukraine. And I need to know where a president of the United States is going to take us in terms of the global economy. I'm not into globalism, but I know that we have to have a place in global geopolitics. What you just saw there was him answer Trey Gowdy's question, and he barely answered it, and he did dodge it. And he went right into ESG and woke, because that's what he knows best. But he also made sure to say, though, at the end that in 2025, we don't know where we'll be.
Do you regret actually just using that one phrase?
Well, I think that it's
a territorial dispute.
So he had answered previously that it's a territorial dispute between Russia and Ukraine, and a lot of people got mad at him for saying that. So here comes the fix-up.
I think it's been mischaracterized. Obviously, Russia invaded that. That was wrong. They invaded Crimea and took that in 2014. That was wrong. What I'm referring to is kind of where the fighting is going on now, which is that western border or the eastern border region, Donbass, and then Crimea. And so it wasn't that I thought Russia had a right to that. And so if I should have made that more clear, I could have done it. But I think the larger point is, okay, Russia has not shown the ability to take over Ukraine, to topple the government, or certainly to threaten NATO. That's a good thing. They've been weakened. You now have the fighting in those areas. I just don't think that's a sufficient interest for us to escalate more involvement. I would not want to see, American troops involved there. But the idea that I think somehow Russia was justified, and that's nonsense.
What's your view of Putin?
Look, I think he's got grand ambitions. I think he's hostile to the United States. But I think the thing that we've seen is he doesn't have the conventional capability to realize his ambitions. And so he's basically a gas station with a bunch of nuclear weapons.
Okay, and we'll stop right there because I'm not going to have it take any longer. He sat there. He was nervous, clearly. I never realized this because I've never seen Ron DeSantis nervous because, again, I'll give him his props. He is a great governor of Florida. Ron DeSantis got very nervous and the head was bobbing and the eyes were wide open. He sat there and spewed a bunch of lies. I'm not going to get into the territorial thing. Here's what you don't need to say. Putin obviously can't beat Ukraine. They've been weakened. By what measure? By what measure? Why are you saying that? You just sat there and those two sentences you just said is lies. Ukraine has been sending their soldiers in on an ending mission. I'm so sick of the description of Vladimir Putin as a gas station playing as a country, but with nuclear weapons. That's very disrespectful. And why? For everybody who's going to say, oh, what are you, Putin? Because I've been called that. A Putin, I don't care about none of that. All them labels, you can miss me with it all. He's obviously not just a gas station with nuclear weapons because his economy is not crumbling like it was supposed to. So obviously there's some brains there. Why minimize the person? Answer correctly. What do you feel about Putin? Listen, I don't know that man, but I know that I'm America first, and whatever it takes for me to continue to be America first, I will be. I don't want to see people dying, so I would gladly like to have a diplomatic discussion with him. Now, so if you become president, you should be trying to find, quote, bring them to peace, right? How would that work after you just insulted? How diplomatic is that? You cannot just say whatever you think. This is what I mean. You have to play the game correctly, and that's dangerous to just call them names. And a lot of, quote, patriotic Americans, they go straight to doing that. They underestimate and look down on certain people. That man is running a whole country. And so now you become president and you need to talk to him about peace. He went on to even say, Putin has been very bad to America. I'm sorry. He blew up our pipelines.
If you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying, Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be.
You already know Sis is just going to try to grill him and not listen to anything he had to say. That's how you answer the question. Bring back America. I'm not afraid to say America as an empire. I'm a realist, okay? We were on top. We should be on top with real innovation, trade, beef up our defense system, and promote infrastructure in other countries and invest in other countries. You give aid. That's how you get your allies, right? But with infrastructure, not destruction. You know who's doing that now? China. About that for a moment. I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.